All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the first gear idlers. VW really, from the 6 volt transaxles for the swings all the way up to the 091, there's only two first gear ratios out by the factory. First was the 380, 3.80, 10 teeth on the main shaft, 38 teeth on the idler. So let's talk about those first. Now VW did the same exact grind on the main shaft, but in the 6 volt transaxles, you'll notice that this gear's quite a bit less teeth. The teeth up here are about even, but what makes the difference, let's turn it sideways here. You can see how much sticks out on this gear. This gear over here, it's more flush. So if we put these, maybe top to bottom real quick here. You can see that the later idler is wider. So it's got more strength to it. Now the 6 volt idler takes a different synchronizer. As you can see, there's less of a thrust surface on the 6 volt versus the 12 volt. So that's one way real easy to visually tell them apart. If it's real thin up here, you can tell it takes different synchronizers, and the later one had the bigger thrust surface. And again, let's see if we can't just put them back to back. Just square it up. Let's just see the difference in the width of the gears. So this gear is stronger just because it's wider. Exact same tooth pattern. You can run this on either one of the main shafts. VW ground them the same way. So then the next thing after this started in 72 for the bus, and we'll just call it 73 for a lot of the Beetle boxes and other ones. But you see this one has a single line coming down the edge. I'll kind of rotate it a little bit. This main shaft has only 9 teeth, which sounds like it'd be weaker, but usually in the Volkswagen transaxle world, the less teeth you have, the bigger the teeth are, so the stronger they are. There's a little bit more angle on the 9 tooth than the 10 tooth main shaft. So you get more thrust loading out on the main shaft bearing. But what happens between these two is the main shaft is a lot stronger on the 9 tooth version than it is the 10 tooth. So that's why you'll hear people talking about, maybe bragging about having that super Beetle main shaft. And really these gears are about the same width. Probably are exact same width. One thing, the thrust surface is the same. They take the same synchronizer. So you can just switch that back and forth, but they won't go to the same main shaft. This is the 10 tooth main shaft. There's no identification mark. The 9 tooth main shaft, they put that single line on the gear so you could have an identification mark. So this one was Beetle 73 to 79, bus 72 to 75, and 76 the factory came out with the 091. So this is a 3.78 first, this is a 3.78 first. So when they did the 091s, they kept the tooth cut the same, or the grind angle the same, but an 091 gear, what they did is they made it just a little bit wider. So an upgrade you'll hear about people talk about is they have an 091 idler or an 091 first gear in their Beetle box. All you're doing is you'll machine this surface down a little bit. Then you have to use the 091 synchro. As you can tell, we got a different thrust surface here. We got the synchros are, I've been told, are stronger with the 091 than they are these. So you have to use the slider and the synchro for the 091 when you convert it in the Beetle boxes. But, I mean, I think as you can see earlier, I mean, they cut those teeth exactly the same. It's just that the 091 idler, they made it wider, gave it more strength. And so that's one thing you can do to upgrade your Beetle box is if you're running the 9-tooth main shaft, you can put a 091 idler in there if you can machine this surface down. There's more upgrades. You can machine this surface for just putting it into a late 3-rib or a 5-rib or a Beetle box with the 9-tooth main shaft. You can machine it even farther down to put the swing axle thrust washer there, but then you're going to need your first gear idler race machined down as well on a shorter idler bearing. I typically will just have Dave Foltz modify the gears for me, especially if you're doing the aftermarket gears. I can't cut those myself. So that's just kind of a neat little stack and a neat little history. I kind of keep these gears around to show people. Oops. So you have your 6-volt Beetle, 12-volt Beetle, 73 Beetle. Sometimes it's called the Super Beetle Trans, but really it started out as the bus box. And so if you're going to look this main shaft part number up, it starts with 002 because originally it started with the bus. The Beetle got it a year later. And then you have your 091 idler. So from there you can kind of see the stack up differences. And that's why you'll hear people running 091 first. Technically, most of the time, they just have the idler in there. There is a main shaft trick you can do. I only know one guy that does that, and I'll talk about that one later.